What is up, everybody? I can't believe what happened today. I was trying to go live earlier, but I was leaving work and connection was bad. But it is what it is. I cannot believe what happened today. Great news for Jimmy Garoppolo. His injury is not as severe as expected initially. You know, they expected a Liz Frank injury, would have been a very detrimental injury to him. That's usually about 6 months to a year to recover from, just because it's at the midfoot and there's so much pressure on that part of the foot. And when you try to step and cut and do anything, there's going to be a lot of pressure and pain. So it's a long recovery. But luckily, Jimmy Garoppolo dodged a bullet. He does not have a Liz Frank injury, and he does not require surgery. So because he doesn't require surgery, he can make a full recovery in 7 to 8 weeks. I am shook. Jimmy Garoppolo is like Wolverine, and if he makes a full recovery and rehab goes well, he can come back in the NFC Championship, ladies and gentlemen. That is absolutely crazy. This is a crazy turn of events. This 49ers quarterback season, the quarterback saga, has been absolutely crazy this year. You had the Trey Lance. You know, he's quarterback one. They committed to him. They were going to get rid of Jimmy. They trade him, is what they were going to do. They were going to trade Jimmy, but then they didn't. They brought him back, restructured his contract. Trey Lance goes down. Jimmy comes in as quarterback one, and then boom, Jimmy Garoppolo goes down. Everybody expected him to be out for the season because he was going to get surgery, and lo and behold, he gets a second opinion, and they look at it again, and he does not have to have surgery. And they're going to rock with Brock until, Jimmy's ready to come back. That is absolutely crazy to me. So Brock Purdy, they're going to roll with him. They did not sign Baker Mayfield. They didn't claim him. They didn't even look into him. Thank you, Kyle Shanahan. You didn't need to get that guy, that scrub-tastic guy. And the Rams went and claimed Baker Mayfield. Their season's dead. Stafford's on the injured reserve, so they're like, listen, we just need a quarterback to finish the season. We'll bring in Baker Mayfield. Typical Rams move. And the 49ers officially signed Josh Johnson as their third-string quarterback. Their backup, maybe. Maybe Eason becomes the quarterback 2 or 3. Who knows? But they have Josh Johnson, Jacob Eason, and Brock Purdy as your active quarterbacks. Jimmy Garoppolo's not going to go on injured reserve yet. Maybe not. He could come back in 7 to 8 weeks. I cannot even believe it. Like, it's been crazy. S. Flood says, any way he could return before the 7-week timeline? Probably not. If he did suffer some type of fracture in the bone, which I still suspect that he has a fracture in the bone, it takes 6 weeks to heal. So, I mean, again, they haven't really exactly said. I haven't seen what the exact injury is. But if there's still a suspected fracture in the bone, that's a 6-week recovery. So, and then, you got to give some rehab there, here and there. So possibly 7 to 8 weeks. But that tells me maybe it wasn't a full-on fracture. So it's crazy. There's a little bit of hope. NFC Championship game, they have to make it there. They have to make it to the NFC Championship game for Jimmy Garoppolo to return. Now, at that point, how good will Brock Purdy be playing if they make it? Can the 49ers make it to the NFC Championship game? Can the defense carry them? There's a lot of questions to kind of filter through. It's crazy, but man, oh man, unbelievable news. I can't believe it. I'm shook. I still can't process everything. What a wild roller coaster. Jimmy Garoppolo, man, his luck turned around. It definitely turned around. I didn't think that this was going to be possible. It looked initially, I mean, if you've seen the replay, if you've seen the pictures of his ankle, I mean, it twisted in such a nasty way that you're like, there's no way. There's no way, man. But now the question kind of comes to, if Brock Purdy is doing good, do you bench him for Jimmy? Like, do you bench him if he's right in the hot hand? That becomes another dilemma. And Billionaire Benji says it. If Purdy has us on a playoff run, should we really bench him? And that is a huge question, man. That's a huge. If Brock Purdy has this team rolling, do you break that momentum? It's hard. You don't want to break the momentum, right? God, man. S. Flood says this team will use this update as more motivation. I'm telling you, man, this team is probably happy for Jimmy because they love Jimmy, man. They're gonna rally around him, and I'm telling you, I'm sure they're excited, they're happy for Jimmy. So, but man, oh man, that's craziness.
What's up, pal?
What's up, Smitty? How you feeling, man? This is crazy news today. Jimmy Garoppolo, his initial injury is not as bad as they thought. We thought it was season ending, and he could come back in 7 to 8 weeks, which would mean the NFC Championship game if all goes well and he heals and everything. That's crazy, man. I'm shocked, man. What do you think?
I don't know, bro. I don't think you want my take on this. I wanted Purdy in when Jimmy was healthy. So
yeah, you did.
I think you're looking at a pickle. Like the whole thing I loved right now was the fact that you had no competition for Purdy. He's got no pressure at all.
Yeah.
And so I don't like the sound of look. I guess it's good if Purdy failed and you could throw him in there. Or Purdy got hurt, you'd have But I mean, what do? You can't take Purdy out. If you guys march through to that point with Purdy, that means he's playing well. So I don't see this happening.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. If Purdy's playing good, and then that's the question: is if he's playing good, why take him out? Why ruin the momentum? Why take him out? Right? If he's playing good and he's on a roll. And I mean, I love Jimmy, and this is great for Jimmy. Like, it's great news for him. But then again, it's Brock Purdy. He's a rookie. Like, there's going to be a lot of pressure. Either way, you're right. They're in a super pickle now because Jimmy's going to push. And obviously, the team loves Jimmy Garoppolo. They have his back. If he's healthy enough and he tells Kyle, I'm going to come out and play, he's going to go out there and play. And I would hate to go into the NFC Championship game and Jimmy comes out and maybe he's not 100% and he's rusty. And they can't win the game. Like, it's good. It's crazy though, but it is a phenomenal story. Like, this is a phenomenal story that just imagine. Okay, we got Brock Purdy now. He's quarterback 3. Now he's quarterback 1. Cinderella, right, story. And then let's say they get to the NFC Championship game. Boom, Jimmy comes back. Oh my God, he pulls a Willis Reed. He's out. I can't believe it. He's playing after several weeks ago, broke the foot or whatever. And then imagine if they make it to the Super Bowl. Like, this is crazy. I don't know. This is a Cinderella story. Whatever's going to happen. The Niners quarterback situation has been an absolute movie.
Absolute mess.
It's crazy, man.
But again, if we both just kind of emphasized, if Purdy's doing well enough that you march into a championship game, you'd be absolutely nuts to bench him. Like, there's no way you make it there if he's playing bad. So I don't know. I wonder if this is even an issue. I wonder if we hear in another day or two or whatever that, like, this didn't come. Did this come from Shanahan? It just came from where'd this come from? Did he speak on this at all? Because I have a feeling.
No, he's going to talk to the media tomorrow, so he'll clarify everything tomorrow. This is all the news that's being dropped today. Schefter, Rappaport, all the tweets, Dave Lombardi, everybody out there. So this is all the media. Tomorrow we'll get exact words from Kyle.
Want me to tell you what happens? Wait, let me tell you what happens.
Tell me.
This is what happens. Exact words are going to be frustration. He's going to have anger and frustration and annoyance on his face because he's going to be the first 2 or 3 questions in a row, just nonstop. Yeah. It's going to be like, Jimmy G coming back in 6 to 7 weeks. And then he's just going to be like, Jimmy's injured. Brock's our starter. You know, I'm not expecting anything, you know, and it's going to be like, but they're saying 6 to 7. I don't think I'm not planning on having Jimmy G back right now because, you know, he's going to be something along the lines of like, we can't even think there. You're already talking about unseating the guy that's currently under center right now. It's going to frustrate Shanahan, and it should. Like, that's going to be annoying. You're trying to prepare, be positive, and you got people going, when's he getting unseated? You know, so it's going to be frustrating for Shanahan. But yeah, you can't put Jimmy G. I've been calling for Purdy to be starting before Jimmy G got injured. This is the best scenario that Niner fans could have drawn up 3-4 weeks ago. The reason Jimmy's looked good at all is because Christian McCaffrey was added to the roster. If you did not add Christian McCaffrey to the roster, which I give kudos, I give flowers to Kyle Shanahan and John and that entire organization of yours there, Raj, for making that bold move. If you guys didn't do that, Jimmy would have fallen apart by now. Anyway, it's hard to fall apart when you've got Christian McCaffrey there. You've got Debo Kittle. Purdy looks good. And there's no way. I'm not saying Purdy's going to be the future. We don't know. He possibly could be. But the fact that he was unprepared, I mean, he was prepared. You heard about how Ayuk said, obviously he's got a guy act like he was going to start, and that's why he was more prepared than anybody thought. But he still wasn't, taking snaps as a starter all week. The fact that he played this good and Shanahan was able to unleash him enough, it's really, people need to understand how unbelievable that performance was. It wasn't like he just went out there and he managed the game. It was almost like they gave him more freedom than Jimmy's ever had all year long.
That's exactly it. He was dealing, man. He was throwing. He was like, it was aggressive play calling, and he was just out there throwing, man. Like he was slinging it, man. I agree. I think they gave him a lot more freedom, because I think at this point they're like, shit, we got nothing to lose at this point. It says we're down to our third quarterback, like a crazy situation. We got nothing to lose and everything to gain, and he was out there slinging. Like, he made some beautiful tight window throws. And I'm not saying Purdy's going to be the next Tom Brady, but he could be the next Cinderella story. I'm excited to see how it plays out, and I'm so happy. So I've been advocate of this all week. Please do not get Baker. People were like, oh, you're dumb, Raj. Because the first time, like the moment the news broke, I remember on the tweet, Schefter's tweet, I was like, please, for the love of God, don't sign Baker, because everybody's, Baker to Niners. And I was like, no, roll with Purdy. And people are like, you're so dumb. And I'm so happy they stuck with Purdy, because I think this guy can become solid. And who knows? Maybe he becomes average. Maybe he's the next Nick Mullins. Maybe he's the next Nick Foles. Maybe he's a really good Cinderella story. He has 4 years under his belt. And with whatever it is, and you've said this before, Smitty, okay, he's going to get development. Next year, when you got Trey back coming off an injury and he's going to be starting, you're going to have competition from Brock, and Brock's going to make it hard for Trey to just go in there and win his job. I'm going to tell you, Brock Purdy's going to put some pressure on Trey, and I like what Brock's doing, man. He came in, you're right, in a tough situation, quarterback 2, thrown in there. Obviously, you always want to prepare for the worst if you're a quarterback. You always like, maybe I will play. And he was throwing some nice passes, man. So I got a lot of hype for the guy. The team loves him. Obviously, they're all in on him because they didn't try to even claim Baker. And they brought in Josh Johnson, who they're telling us is a veteran that knows the system. It's not like he's going to come in and unseat Brock. They're going to let him go out there and do his thing. And if Jimmy comes back, then that's the guy that can unseat him. But I like what Brock's doing. And if he can play well, we just found another late round gem, baby.
Yeah, it's like for me, and I know a lot of people disagree, and I respect everybody's opinion that disagrees with me. But my opinion that no one can take away from me is that you would have had Jimmy G in there and fallen short. That's just how I feel. He's done it before. He doesn't have the ability to he's different in the playoffs. He's a turnover machine. And I think you guys you still had a shot. Your defense is so good. You maybe could win with Jimmy. You maybe could win with Brock. No one's saying that it's improbable or anything. But my thinking was that, and this is what I talked about Trey all offseason last year, is when Jimmy went in or Trey went in and won in that, what was it, week 16 Houston game, whatever it was, playoff contingencies, like everything was on the line. Trey won the game, and then you went back to Jimmy. My thinking was, wouldn't you rather, if you're going to fall short, which happened, and I know you got close, and I understand, I know everybody thinks that Trey wouldn't have been able to do it, but what we're seeing happen with Purdy right now is what I believe would have happened with Trey. Maybe you would have fallen short, but he would have got the experience to come in this year, and you would have been ready to rock and roll this year with Trey versus not knowing what's going on. Yeah. So I feel like exactly what happens with Purdy here would have happened with Trey. However far you get, however good he does, this would have been the result with Trey had you done it his rookie year. And he would have
I agree. More experience. Again, because he's just going to get experience. Like, they're younger players, they're rookies. They're going to get better with the experience. If they can, figure out the plays and the team around them is good, they should get better. I mean, obviously, Brock's going to have some ups and downs. Let's be honest. He's a rookie. So I want people to, not freak out if he does have some bad moments, because he's a rookie. But that's how you learn. And, that's why I'm glad they didn't go out and get a Baker or any of these guys out there that everybody wanted the Niners to get, because there's so many rumors. Oh, my God, Niners should go get Cam Newton and this guy and does. you don't need to put any pressure behind Brock Purdy. You just let him be the guy and let him go out there and play without anybody that he has to look over his shoulder, man. You don't want to create controversy, and that's what he's going to get to do. Obviously, I mean, now Jimmy out here acting like Wolverine. I mean, that's the guy that you're going to have to respect because the locker room respects him. But right now, you got Josh Johnson and Eason. Those two guys are not going to push any pressure on Brock. They're veterans. They're going to help him, come along and know how to prepare because they've been in the league for a long time. So that's why you have those guys because they're good veterans to kind of just be there and support Brock. But I think he's going to get a lot of experience, and it's going to be good for him and the team. And again, the guy you mentioned earlier, Christian McCaffrey, he's a quarterback's best friend. He's a safety blanket. Like it's so good that we have him because he made Jimmy's job easier, and he's going to make Brock's job easier for you. I mean, even in that game, you could tell he made Brock's job so much easier. Like, he was just like, okay, I'll give it to CNC. He'll go get all the yards. He figured it out. But there were some throws, man, that Brock made. Throw to Kittle with the pressure on him. I mean, they were blitzing him, and he hung tough, and the pressure did not phase him. And the little like rollout play where he finds Ayuk on the end, and then he rolls out to the other side, finds Jennings. I mean, the kid looked pretty good, man. I like what I saw out of him.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl for the Ravens with a defense in Trent Dilfer. Like, so, and that was a while ago, obviously. A lot of people watching were probably in diapers, but he still did it. It was phenomenal. And I think Purdy and that offense wasn't what the Niners offense is. The thing is, you guys have like a 9 out of 10 in terms of talent level on offense. You have a 9 or 10 out of 10 in terms of defense. Problem is, you've had like a 5 at quarterback, so you can't unlock everything. I don't know that Purdy's that much more on a scale of 1 to 10 than Jimmy was because he's a rookie, so he's gonna have those struggles and ups and downs. And you also have the concern of what does Shanahan do? Does Shanahan let the kid go out there and sling it, or does Shanahan dial back and change the game plan, pick his foot off the gas at certain points, and then let you not put Brock in the right position to fail and succeed? Because look what he did. He threw an INT, but he also had 2 touchdowns. You guys won the game. You got to let him throw the ball. So I do have my concerns about how Shanahan addresses this situation. But the bottom line is you surround a guy that I believe is a 6 out of 10 versus Jimmy being a 5 or a 4 out of 10 in terms of being, quarterback ranking. And you got a 9 out of 10 in terms of weaponry around him, a 9 or a 10 out of 10 on defense. Like, this team could easily walk into a Super Bowl, a Super Bowl appearance if the defense stays healthy.
Yeah. The defense is the key because even whether Jimmy was the quarterback, Brock, or even Trey for that matter, this defense is what's going to carry this team because you got a great weapons on offense, but it's Kyle Shanahan. He's going to limit him at times because you're right. Was he going to pull the reins back and just run sometimes? Because Brock, again, we talked about it. He was able to throw this game, and then they let him kind of uncork it a little bit, and he has that ability to go out and make those throws. So it was nice to see. I mean, he threw a pick, but that was like a punt. And it was just field position type play, so it didn't matter. And he came right back, and he was just throwing some dimes. He shook off the interception, so I like to see that. But you're right, the defense is key. Nick Bosa, man, all of a sudden, he's playing like the defensive player of the year. He's just getting better every week. Fred Warner, Greenlaw, all these guys have to stay healthy because if they take a major injury to the defense, it's over. You're absolutely right. If Bosa gets hurt, Fred Warner, or somebody, Dre Greenlaw, if one of their big stars gets hurt, it's over, man. I don't care how good this team is. This defense is going to carry them a very long way. But I'll tell you what, Smitty, real quick. I still think, and with Purdy, I think they could win playoff games just like they would have with Jimmy. Because look at the NFC. The Giants, that right now, if the playoffs started today, it would be the 49ers and the Giants. You really think the Giants can beat the 49ers? Their offense would get stonewalled by the Niners defense. So that's a win. Second round would probably be Minnesota. That's what I'm guessing would be the second round game. Minnesota, they got a great offense. They're cute, whatever, but it's Kirk Cousins. I could see the Niners beat his ass again, and the Niners make it to the NFC Championship. So then you're probably going to play the Eagles. That is going to be the tough match. Can Brock Purdy beat the Eagles? I don't know. But can the defense stop Jalen Hurts? That's where it is.
I think you guys stopping Tua and Miami Mike was all you need to know. That you could go in and shut down a top 5 potential offense because Miami had a top 5 potential. Like, they're not locked in all the time, but they can flirt with a top 5 type of production easy any given week. So that was impressive. If you could do that, who's to say you can't do it against the Eagles? Can, like you said, there's going to be cakewalk wins or easier wins, and then there's going to be 1 or 2 really tough games, which you just proved you can win, even with Brock Purdy.
I agree. Smitty, I want to answer this question. Alberto says, if Jimmy is good to come back in the postseason, why not bring Trey back if he's good to come back? So the difference, and I've seen this question a lot. I really want to speak on this because I think a lot of people are upset because, Trey broke his foot too, and he can't. So Trey had surgery. That's the big difference. Trey Lance had surgery. Jimmy Garoppolo is not having surgery. It's a whole different recovery. It's a whole different rehab process. Surgery is a whole different monster because they open up your body and they go in surgically. Surgery is not like rubbing you with flowers. It's a pretty invasive operation. It's a pretty invasive. It's invasive. That's what it is. It's very invasive. So your body has to heal, not just the bone. So okay, you have a bone. You're putting in screws. The screws have to set. You have to make sure there's no infection. Everything has to stabilize. And then once the bone gets stabilized, now you have to kind of rehab in terms of getting the muscle back, the swelling down. It's just a bigger recovery. It's a different injury. So yes, Jimmy Garoppolo can return because his injury is not as severe as Trey Lance's. He did have a pretty significant injury, but obviously it wasn't as big as it could have been, right? They avoided a Liz Frank injury. I'm going to tell you, if it was a Liz Frank injury, that could have been a year of recovery because of the placement of where the fracture happens. It's like at the midfoot it's at the midfoot, and that's exactly where all the pressure is when you're walking and stepping and running. All the pressure's on your midfoot. It just takes time because what do you do when you stand and walk and run and play football? You're putting pressure at the midfoot. So, that's why Trey Lance can't come back.
But we all know Jimmy G's going to announce he needs surgery during the combine, bro.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, oh, by the way, I need surgery. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for you guys. You guys got a little injection of hope, I think. It's weird to see. I mean, for the majority of the fan base seems to be just, supporting Brock, but it's weird to see people like negative about it. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't just, if you're a true Niner fan, and I'm not a Niner fan, I always admit that. It's weird for me to watch Niner fans that claim to be true Niner fans to be like not supportive of Brock Purdy. Like, they're wanting Jimmy G back. They want Baker Mayfield.
It's always a controversy. Like, they couldn't support Trey. Then it's just like, this is our situation. Just roll with who we have.
It's weird though. It's weird. Why can't you live in both worlds though? Like, let's say you did want Baker. Why can't you be like, I love Purdy. This could be the real thing, but let's have Baker too, just in case. But it's always, no, it can't be Purdy. It has to be Baker, or it has to be Baker. It can't be, like, I don't understand why Niner fans are so one-sided on it. Like, why can't everything be an option?
That's crazy, dude.
I don't get it.
I don't either. I don't know.
I got to go on my show in a minute, in a little bit. I got to get prepared for it. So I just wanted to hop on real quick. Congrats on the win. You guys continue to do it. Defense is just phenomenal. It's scary, man. It's scary. I don't know how, if your defense is healthy, teams can score at this point. I think the only downside is going to be if let's say the defense is on the field too much and they get tired and hurt. So it's you got to open it up. Shanahan's got to try and keep time of possession, in that important like range that can keep the defense healthy. Because
they got to run the ball. So you're right. They have to keep teams off. They have to keep their defense off the field 100%. I agree with that, because you're right. If the defense gets tired, they're going to carry again. If they get tired, it's going to be a whole different situation. So you're right. I think that's the only issue. If their defense can't do what they need to do, then it's going to be a scary situation. So hold up. Sorry, I'm sending a link to CMAC.
Thank you, Peter Parker. Appreciate you. Yeah. Let's and what's funny is I got a lot of people in my live stream that night, the Sunday evening, when I broke down all the games, because I do a breakdown on it every Sunday night. And
really?
Immediately people came in and they were like, what's this mean for Debo? What's this mean for, because I do fantasy. So it's like, it's an uptick for everybody. Like, I believe Purdy is an uptick for every offensive player. I don't know how much, but I believe not only will Debo probably get more more targets and Ayuk and them throw the football just a tad bit more or further down the field, bigger plays potentially. Because I feel like Purdy's got a better arm, and I feel like Shanahan showed right away that he trusted his arm more than he trusted
you can
Jimmy's
see. I
arm.
mean, look at Debo in that game. He was getting the ball as a receiver. Like he made so many nice little throws to Debo, and that was a guy that really helped him to win that game. And then, the interview by Brandon Ayuk yesterday, that to me was amazing. He goes, look, Brock came up to me and apologized. Hey, I missed you a couple of times. I want to feed. Like you could tell Brandon was like, oh, you're gonna feed me? Like he's like, I'm gonna feed you, BA. I'm gonna feed you. Brandon, his face was like, you gonna feed me? Okay, let's go. I finally got a quarterback that's gonna hop and throw me the ball down deep. Like Brandon Ayuk might go crazy, man. Like you can tell he's like, all right, BP.
and what's Linus saying? How soon could Jimmy return? This is how soon Jimmy can return. Oh, it didn't work. I tried to. I don't know. Let me see if I can switch this for him. I'll show him how quickly. Hold on. Here, let's see if I can do it now. This is how quickly. Did it work? It didn't work. Oh well.
I don't know. It's 7 to 8 weeks. So how soon could Jimmy return? It's 7 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
That's what the report.
It's hopefully there's no controversy. You don't want a controversy, Linus. You don't want a controversy.
I mean, 7 to 8 weeks, and that's if everything goes peachy clean and there's no like setbacks or anything, which I hope not. For Jimmy's sake, I hope he's okay.
Yeah, I hope he's okay. Obviously, but I guess the only thing you could say is that if he came back, let's say he was ready. If you guys are in the championship game, let's say, and he's ready to potentially come back, he's like ready to be an emergency quarterback. I think that would be what it would be. It's like, okay, he's not. We're going to put him in as emergency quarterback if something happens, but it is Brock Purdy's job to lose. But,
this is,
but I don't think you want the pressure on him like that. I think right now he's got no one over his shoulder. Nobody over his shoulder.
This is what I think, Smitty, and this is my prediction. If Jimmy is healthy and he's cleared to play, and it's the NFC Championship, Kyle Shanahan's going to let him play. He's going to pull Brock Purdy. That's my prediction. He's going to pull Brock Purdy and he's going to play Jimmy because he's going to let him finish what he started this year. I honestly think he is, because this is his contract year. He respects Jimmy. The locker room respects Jimmy. There's not going to be any disrespect to Brock, but I think he's going to pull Brock and he will play Jimmy. That's what's going to if Jimmy makes it.
I'd be so angry.
I know you would.
If you made it that far with Brock Purdy, that means he's doing good. There's no way he's not doing good. He'd have to be doing good. And I think you're right. I think that's why I don't know if I can make it as a Niner fan. I don't think I could do it.
Regardless of who's on the field, Smitty, as a Niner fan, I'm gonna rock with them. I'm gonna go and support him. But man, that would be a crazy story because again, Jimmy Garoppolo coming in, I would be afraid because he's coming in off of the injury he had. How 100%? How effective is he gonna be? Is he gonna be rusty? Yeah. And again, I don't know if I would want to pull a guy that's just coming in fresh. He's young. He's got the momentum. He's got the, everything going for him. And then you pull him. It's no disrespect to anybody, Jimmy or Brock or anybody. I just would go with the guy that you're winning games with. I wouldn't mess. I'm superstitious. I don't want to mess up what's working. That's me. So
real quickly, let me just say, and then I got to go.
Yeah.
The other part, I was saying that I think everybody goes up a little bit because Purdy's, in my opinion, a better passer. I know everyone's going to think I'm crazy, but that's just how I feel. And I know that everybody has kind of a similar feeling. They just maybe don't want to say it. Raj just kind of said he got open, Kyle let him open it up. So clearly there's a thought process in place where maybe Brock can make throws Jimmy can't. Even if maybe Jimmy's got more experience, I get all that. There's different like pros and cons to it. But I believe not only will Debo and this entire offense be utilized a little bit more in terms of the pass, but I believe that Debo will become an even more important part of the offense than he was going to be with Jimmy G, because you've got to try and keep it as simple as possible and the least amount of pressure off Brock, because even though he looked good, he's still going to make mistakes. And the further you go into this, the more pressure is going to be on him, because you can lose a game right now and you'd be fine. In the playoffs, you lose, you go home. So once he gets into the playoffs, it's going to be a whole different ball game. So Shanahan's got to figure out a way to make it towards three-dimensional offense again. It's not just Christian McCaffrey and everybody else kind of playing a role. It needs to be Debo, McCaffrey, Brock with the wide receivers. It needs to be three components that you can't focus on one of them because all three are rotating around being amazing. So I think that that's going to be critical. If Debo's used properly, you guys will be really hard to stop on offense because you can't really contain Brock or worry about shutting down this rookie because Debo's getting handoffs, getting negative 1 yard catches, and he takes it 67 yards down the field. So it's going to be critical to make sure Debo's as important as CMC. If Shanahan doesn't do that, you're going to be one dimensional with McCaffrey.
100%. I agree. If you can get Debo, more involved in this offense, that's just another element that teams are not going to be able to stop. And we saw that this week. The Dolphins had a hard time containing Debo. He was just, doing whatever he wanted. Yep. They couldn't tackle him. And when they do that again, just like last year, when teams are like, oh man, we got to tackle Debo, it gets them frustrated. And then boom, they give it to CMC and everybody else gets involved. And one good comment here by Shardall, he says, Purdy's also going to pick up 20 to 30 yards on the ground, right? Because he is mobile. He has some wheels. He was mobile, man. Yeah, and I think that's going to be something we see in this offense, another wrinkle that he couldn't do that Jimmy can't. And, Jimmy's just not the most mobile guy in the world. Ever since that ACL, too, he doesn't really run that much. He doesn't escape pressure. And now we're going to have a young quarterback that can escape pressure. That's one of the reasons they got Trey. So.
Slide, Brock. Run out of bounds, Brock.
I hope he slides,
don't
man.
Run up the middle. All right, I got to run. Appreciate you.
All right, my man.
Later.
Appreciate you. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be interesting, but I'm intrigued by everything. I honestly can't believe that Jimmy's got a chance to come back again. 7 to 8 weeks. We got to let Purdy hold it down for us in the meantime, man. So we'll see. Hey, Peter Parker says, any word on Big Spence? The right side wasn't on the best. Hopefully he's back this week. He was, he did come back to practice last week. He had the ankle sprain, but they didn't activate him. Brunskill played, not horrible. He played pretty good. But Mike McGlinchey, man. And I feel like the communication, Brunskill and McGlinchey wasn't 100% because Brunskill has been rotating with Burford. So it's but it was McGlinchey. If you watch that play where Jimmy got hurt, McGlinchey gets rocked and rolled, obviously. He gets pushed back, and his guy Phillips, number 15, was the guy that came through. Because there was two rushers. One guy off the left that came untouched, the first guy that got to Jimmy. But the second guy, Phillips, he's the one that kind of, stepped and put the pressure on Jimmy's leg or foot. So I feel that was kind of on Mike. But, man, oh, man, we do need to fix up that right side. Hopefully Burford comes back this week. They return to practice tomorrow, so we'll get a little bit more clearer picture as practice returns. So we'll see, man. But, yeah, man, I cannot believe what happened today. Again, Jimmy Garoppolo, again, it's good news for him. But, again, the question remains, how good can this team be with Brock Purdy? We're going to find out. Like, the Niners have to get far. They have to make a deep run into the playoffs for Jimmy to even come back, right? They'd have to get to the NFC Championship. Can Brock Purdy take them there? Can he lead them there? That's what we're going to have to find out, man. I don't know. Glock Purdy. Is Glock Purdy going to take him that far? I mean, and again, if Purdy makes it that far, do you want him to take him out? Would you want the Niners to take him out? Like, do you want – imagine Brock Purdy's like balling. This is a hypothetical. Imagine Brock Purdy is balling out of control, and he's tearing it up. He goes out there, they're winning games, and they do make it to the NFC Championship. Imagine. Do you want to take him out for Jimmy? Do you want to take him out? And I love Jimmy, and I think the team would rally for him, and they're going to play tough, and it'd be a phenomenal story. But do you take him in? Do you take out Brock for Jimmy because he's back? It's a risk. It's a big risk. And I know a lot of people are excited today, and I saw the news, and I was like, oh, wow. Like, this is exciting times for Jimmy, and his injury's not as bad, and I'm so happy for the guy. But if Brock Purdy's going crazy and he's making a run, do you take him out? That's the big question. So we're going to have another quarterback situation on our hands in a couple weeks, possibly. So the 49ers and quarterbacks, man, Jesus, it's unbelievable. Shade says the Rams are the only team to put in a claim for Baker. Yeah, exactly. They're terrible. I'm so glad the Niners didn't even put a claim in for Baker. He's trash. We didn't need him. What's up, throwback? Michelle says it's just more quarterback drama. Unfortunately, that's what this team is all about. Steve O says, what's up? If Nick Foles and Joe Flacco can win a Super Bowl with the talent this team has, anything is possible. He says, I would not take him out if Purdy leads us into the playoffs because Jimmy won't be 100%. Yeah, he'll be coming off. He'll be very rusty. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting. I wouldn't take out Purdy, and it's not even disrespect to anybody. It's what Smitty and I were talking about is you got a guy that's rotted in a hot hand. I don't know if I'd want to take him out. Jimmy, what's up, man? He says there's never a shortage of content for this team. Always drama. There's literally always drama with the San Francisco 49ers, especially at quarterback. It's crazy, dude. Like, quarterback is the most dramatic position on this team, man. I don't know. It's crazy. But Brock Purdy this week, he gets to play against Tom Brady. Tom Brady has never lost to a quarterback that's made their first start in their NFL career. He's done it. He's 6-0. He's never lost to a quarterback that's made their first start. So this is going to be a big historical game. If Brock Purdy beats Tom Brady, or if the 49ers beat the Buccaneers and Brock Purdy gets the win, he will be the first quarterback to ever have a win against Tom Brady in their first career start in the NFL. No pressure there. No pressure. Brock Purdy, though, I like what I saw. Again, cool, calm, collected. He was like a cucumber, baby. I like what I saw. Liked what I saw out of him. Russell says Brady barely beat the Saints. You could tell, man. They gave him a chance. Obviously, Brady with his little magic, and he came back. But I mean, Brady's you could tell he's getting older, man. He's definitely breaking down. BCB, baby. BCB. Alberto says this team is loaded as a QB. You just got to protect the ball. That's it, man. That's exactly what you got to do for this team. Just protect it. Don't make silly-ass mistakes. Just don't make mistakes. Blood Moon says 13-4. I mean, if they win out, they're going to be 13-4. That'd be crazy. If Purdy wins, it's game over. BCP season. I can't believe. If Brock Purdy goes out and has a dominant game, we're good. I'm telling you. I'm excited for this kid, and I don't want Jimmy to rush. I don't want Jimmy to rush and come back and not be 100%. Like, I love the fact that Jimmy's going to be healthier, faster than he could have been, and he, dodged a big bullet. I'm happy for Jimmy and his personal health, but I don't want him to rush it and go out there and try to be Superman. And I don't want him to go out there and be like, prove a point. I don't want him to go out there and be like, I'm human, I'm superhuman, I'm Superman. Like, I'm so excited that he's coming back for him personally. I just don't know if it's going to be smart for him to push it and try to come back. But my take is, this is my take. If Jimmy Garoppolo is cleared and he's healthy and he's ready to play, Kyle will let him play. Kyle's not going to hold him back. Again, this is his contract season, and he loves Jimmy and he's loyal to him, and he's going to give him that chance to play. He's going to give him the chance. He's going to sit Brock Purdy down. And he's going to say, hey, look, man, you took us this far. Thank you. You've done an amazing job. But this is Jimmy's season to finish out. This is his contract year. This is his legacy. And I'm going to let him ride it. He's either going to bring us to the Super Bowl or we're going to lose. No hard feelings, Brock. That's what Kyle Shanahan's going to do. That's my prediction. And it's going to be crazy. Again, I think we can make it to the NFC Championship. Again, we have the Giants most likely, then the Vikings. The defense can beat those teams. And again, like you guys said, just limit the mistakes, get the ball into the playmakers' hands. And by that point of the season, Brock will have gotten better. He'll have a lot more experience under his belt. And then it's up to the defense to really do what they got to do and stifle the opponents. And then you get maybe to the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. I could see that. So we'll see what happens. Wasn't the score 7-3? Dude, Purdy played good, man. I don't know why people are not giving him his credit. There's a lot of people that aren't crediting him, Jimmy. You're right, because he came in, and I'm telling you, man, this team just went and started going and started scoring. He made a comeback, and he was poised. He was just leading this team downfield like nobody's business. So people that are doubting Purdy, they didn't really watch that game because he He was really moving the ball, and he was getting the ball to these. Like Debo looked great. He used them as a receiver. CMC, same thing. He was using these guys and getting them the ball. That throw to Kittle, man, like you guys seen it, was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, the pressure in his face, and he's getting crushed out there. He was getting thrown around, but he was delivering the dimes, man. Peter says, we're going to win this as a team. And that's the thing. This is a complete team from top to bottom, man. Yeah, Blood Moon, that's true. Robert Quinn, Eagles lost Robert Quinn. They had to place him on the injured reserve, and the Cowboys lost Brown for the season. Those are big injuries for this team. And then again, the Niners had injuries early in the season, but they've become healthier as the season went along. So it's going to be a battle of the strong, whoever's the most healthy in the playoffs. That's what matters. You're one big injury away from, losing your chances in the playoffs sometimes. And if the Niners can stay healthy, like Smitty said, if the Niners defense can stay healthy, they have a chance to go very, 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 very far. Oh, man. Fern says there's actually some Eagles and Rams fans that are happy that Jimmy got hurt. The fans that celebrate injuries, I can't deal with those fans, man. Like that's just shitty, dude. You can't. Fans that celebrate injuries are stupid, man. I can't deal with fans like that. I can't deal with fans like that. S Flood says, my only concern this week is that Brady always gets calls in his favor. He does. He's this one thing I noticed. Brock Purdy didn't get any calls. He's young. He's a rookie. This was his first game in the NFL. Tom Brady's been in the league for a long time, right? 22 years. He's going to get every call in the world, man. He wrote the book, right? Brady looked shook against the Saints defense. Blood Moon says, yeah, and that's the key. Have to get to Brady. You have to pressure him. But we'll talk about that later this week. Honestly, if you can get to Brady and make him uncomfortable, man, it's going to be a long day for that guy. So we'll see. But anyways, man, you guys have a good rest of your day. I'm going to take a little break. We'll be live on Instagram, all that good stuff a little later. Appreciate you guys. And, crazy news today. Jimmy Garoppolo, he could come back in 7 to 8 weeks. Right now, we're going to rock with Brock. And I'm glad the 49ers did not put in a waiver for Baker Mayfield, man. I'm just so happy that they didn't. But I'll see you guys a little later. Love you. Bang, bang. Not again.